I grew up in the Lower East Side section of Manhattan, where it was a very drug-infested neighborhood. And people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would tell them I want to be rich. And rich I became. At 13, I started selling drugs. And at 19, I was running one of the largest drug delivery services in New York City, and I was making over $2 million a year.
Welcome to Success Beyond Bars, our video series sponsored by Koch Industries. In our video series, we feature formerly incarcerated individuals who have changed their lives and developed innovative, impactful ventures. And today we have Coss, the founder and CEO of ConBody. And ConBody is an organization that is focused on enhancing people's fitness and health. And we're here today with Coss to tell us about his journey and why ConBody is so vital to his life's mission. Hi, Coss.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You have a fascinating journey that I want to share with our audience. You have a company that is focused on fitness and health. It grew out of your experience being incarcerated, and you have in fact employed people who have been formerly incarcerated. Where I want to start is at the beginning. Share with us your story, how you got into a situation where you were incarcerated, and then go from there to talk about how you were inspired to start ConBody.
I was born and raised in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Not the Lower East Side you see today with the galleries and poodles. It was a different neighborhood back then. My mom immigrated from the Dominican Republic when she was 6 months pregnant with me, and I was the first American-born citizen of my family. And we ended up in the Lower East Side, where I had other family members that lived in the same building. And we lived in my aunt's based on her couch. And I see my mom hustle from, not hustling on the streets, but just hustling work-wise in a factory, sewing clothes and all this stuff, and working for basically nothing. At 19, I ran one of the largest drug delivery services in New York City. I was making over $2 million a year. And it all ended when federal agents caught up with me when I was 23. And when I was 23, I was sentenced to 7 years in prison.
Share with us that experience of being incarcerated. And an interesting part of your story, if my research is correct, is that your life turned around when you got a letter from your sister. Share that story with us.
I got into an altercation with an officer, and this officer started searching me aggressively, and while he was searching me, I felt like he was touching me inappropriately, and I jerked my body. And as soon as I moved my body, he punched me behind my head, and he said, "Don't mess with me. Today's not my day." And as soon as I dropped, I picked up my glasses, and I had glasses at the time. I dropped down to the ground, I picked them up, I turned around on the officer to avoid another hit. And as soon as I turn around, he presses this button in his walkie-talkie. And as soon as that button was pressed, the whole alarm for the whole prison went off. And about a dozen officers come to the scene, and they beat the crap out of me. And they shackle me up, throw me in solitary confinement. It was not until a couple days later, where I think I was 5 days in, and my sister writes me and tells me to read Psalm 91 from the Bible. My sister's like really religious, like Mother Teresa's child. And she tells me to read the Bible, and I was not a believer. I didn't care about religion or anything. I took that letter, I threw it in the corner of my cell, said F that, and I laid down back in my bed, and I just stood there bored, and all I had was this Bible. The only thing that really follows you around in prison is a Bible or a Quran or whatever your religious items are. And so that Bible was given to me early on in my incarceration by my sister, and all I used it for was like taking addresses and numbers of inmates, who I kept in contact with. So I never read it. But at that point, after like 2 days of sitting in boredom, I decided to pick it up. And I turned to the pages that she told me to read, Psalm 91, which states, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my fortress, and God who I trust." And as soon as I read those words, a stamp fell out of my Bible. A stamp fell out of my Bible, and it was the stamp that I needed to send out that letter to my family, letting them know about the situation I was in.
When you go to ConBody, you get, a real workout, and you stretch yourself. You've also developed an online component. How does that work?
So we started an online platform. We have a little small studio on Broome Street and Eldridge Street where I basically started selling drugs got locked up at when I was 13. And we opened up the gym right there on that same corner. So it went back to a full revolving circle, but the studio was just really small. We only fit 15 people per class there, and we've been getting so much demand internationally with just people wanting to know more about our workouts and wanting to do our stuff, so we created this online platform.
How did you go about creating the whole infrastructure, in terms of the number of trainers, how quickly did you grow, and how were you able to finance the company?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it started bare bones. I didn't have any finances. I had no overhead in the park. The only thing was myself, so every dollar that came in, I tried to survive and put something away, and from there it just started growing. And we did a Kickstarter. I've applied for a few business plan competitions. I also did this program called Defy Ventures. Defy Ventures is a program for formerly incarcerated individuals who want to start their own businesses. So they believe that illegal entrepreneurs could become legal entrepreneurs. And you go through this whole MBA, program, and it's taught by Harvard and Stanford MBA professors, and it's extremely intense. But I graduated from there, and they had these pitch competitions where you could win, small amounts of grant money for $5,000, $10,000, and I won some of that money as well.
Now ConBody is in expansion mode. Share with us your expansion plans.
Our whole mission is to hire as many formerly incarcerated individuals as possible. We also going back into the prison system and the jail system, so we work with Rikers Island inmates as well, and we help them train while they're inside and provide them with an internship when they come out. The problem is that there's so many people wanting a job, and I don't have any more jobs available. So the only way is to grow and expand through other fitness facilities.
Well, Coss, it was a pleasure talking to you and interviewing you, and for you being so candid to share your story. Thank you for being a part of Success Beyond Bars.